But let's take a listen to what.
The WNBA, as if I needed to see this, it is very obvious. The 2.3% Republican are all members of the Indiana Fever.
Like, what? Like, first of all, what relevance is that to basketball? None. Like, I don't care.
That angry sound you heard isn't about basketball at all. It's about someone who's supposed to talk about the sport but talks about everything else instead. What we're going to show you proves why WNBA media has become so mean and unfair that even regular fans are starting to see the problem.
So, this is something that she said. And by the way, first of all, why are WNBA players being asked their political affiliations? It is irrelevant to the sport of basketball. It is absolutely irrelevant. Like, completely irrelevant. And also, my favorite part about this is it says in 2024.
Mariah Rose is the daughter of NBA analyst Jalen Rose. ESPN put her on their special 30 under 30 list in 2024. She got to walk the red carpet at the WNBA draft, and the league treated her like a real reporter. But when you look at what she actually talks about, one thing is super clear: she almost never talks about basketball. Here's what happened that made people upset. Rose made a post saying that all the Republican players in the WNBA, that's only 2.3% or 3 players out of 130, play for the Indiana Fever. Not just some of them, but all of them on the same team.
Walking the red carpet at draft night, all this stuff. And she is not only implying that being of a political affiliation is an insult, which is one thing, but basically calling the face of your league MAGA. Heavily implying the face of your league is MAGA. Which at the end of the day, obviously that's being, like, that phrase is being used as an insult. At the end of the day, I couldn't care less. I'm not going to have an opinion on it because I live 7-8 hours away, and anyone who knows me in real life knows there's not much going on in my head other than basketball.
Let's ask the obvious question: who is she really talking about? The Indiana Fever had 12 players in 2024, including Caitlin Clark, Aaliyah Boston, Kelsey Mitchell, and others. Only one player in the whole WNBA has actually talked publicly about being conservative. Just one. But Rose's post makes it sound like 2.3% means 3 players who all play for Indiana. The math doesn't add up unless you're trying to make it fit, unless you're trying to hint at something about certain people without actually saying their names. Here's the sneaky part: Caitlin Clark, the league's biggest star and Indiana's best player, has liked posts supporting Kamala Harris on Instagram. She's from Des Moines, Iowa, which tends to be more liberal. There's zero proof for what Rose is suggesting, but making people think it is the whole point.
That is what they want. They don't want somebody talking about the sport. I can guarantee you Mariah Rose is not going to talk about the biggest choke in the history of basketball, for God's sake. If Iowa don't pull this off, if Iowa win this in overtime, that is the most ballsy win I've ever seen. Like, I turned the game off. I couldn't even find my stream again. I turned it off when they were up 14 points. I saw it. I went up 17 with 3 minutes to go. I'm like, yeah, this is over. But yeah, either way, this is, in my opinion, this is pathetic.
Here's why this matters more than just one bad post from one media person. This isn't happening alone. The WNBA actually helps promote Rose. She gets special draft access and league accounts share her stuff. They treat her like she's part of the new WNBA media. So what does she do with that platform? She doesn't break down Aaliyah Boston's great defense or talk about how Kelsey Mitchell became such a good scorer. She doesn't discuss Caitlin Clark's passing skills or how she helps her team. Instead, she makes political accusations dressed up as facts. Meanwhile, other creators who actually study game film and talk about real basketball often get ignored by the league. Some even get pushed back against. This shows what the league really cares about in its media, and it's not basketball.
Promote. That's the worst part. They don't give a fuck about the sport. They couldn't give a fuck. And by the way, who is she actually implying is this? Because in 2024, by the way, like, okay, Sophie Cunningham didn't play for the Indiana Fever. The only player in the WNBA who's very openly on that side. And again, I don't care. Like, the funniest thing is, with so many things where it's like, people are like, oh, you hate players with activism. No. I have no issue with someone like Natasha Cloud saying she's an activist. I have an issue with Natasha Cloud reposting that Indiana is unsafe for Angel Reese. I have an issue with some of the other shit Natasha Cloud has said. I couldn't give a flying fuck about anyone's politics.
Let's talk about why players are even being asked about politics in the first place. This isn't the NFL or NBA where players have huge platforms and often talk about social issues. This is the WNBA, a league still trying to get more fans, and they're asking players to share political views that have nothing to do with their job. Some players like Natasha Cloud and Breanna Stewart choose to be activists and speak out. That's their choice. But when media starts demanding every player pick a political side, you've stopped covering sports. The funny thing is, this actually hurts the league. Regular fans watch to see basketball, not political debates. When your media talks about everything except the game, you're not getting more fans, you're dividing them.
Is this a sneak diss of Grace Berger or something? Is Damiris Dantas? Do we not know exactly? Damiris Dantas, I don't think she can vote, but I don't know who's this meant to be a shot at? Because there's one Indiana Fever player who you better believe this is supposed to be an insult towards, who is publicly on the other side. And at the end of the day, that is irrelevant. That is absolutely irrelevant to the sport of basketball.
Think about what this does to the players. If you're Caitlin Clark, you're trying to get better at defense, run plays better, and work with your teammates. You're 22 years old in your first season with tons of pressure. Then media people who the league supports start hinting things about your political beliefs to their followers without asking you directly or letting you respond. That's not journalism or even fair commentary. That's deliberately creating a story. Now imagine you're Kelsey Mitchell or Aaliyah Boston, who might be part of this all Republicans play for Indiana claim. You've never talked about politics publicly, you've focused on basketball, and suddenly you're dragged into a story you never wanted to be part of. Here's what this shows about WNBA media right now. The league desperately needs people who understand basketball. They need people explaining why certain plays work or why players have improved. Instead, the league promotes media people who mainly make political guesses about players who've never even discussed politics. When independent creators focus on real basketball and analyze why certain players are great, they often get ignored or dismissed by league-connected media. The pattern is clear. If you praise players the league once praised, no matter how they actually play, you get access. If you analyze real basketball and come to different conclusions, you're called problematic. This makes honest basketball talk controversial. Saying a player had a bad game or isn't right for a certain position gets you called biased. The actual sport becomes less important than protecting certain stories. Some reporters do focus on basketball. They write detailed game analysis and interview coaches about strategy, but they're not the ones the league promotes or gives red carpet access to. They do the hard work while people like Rose get the platform. Watch that first clip again. That much anger doesn't come from a simple disagreement about basketball. It comes from watching someone with league support use their platform to make political hints about players instead of covering the sport. It comes from seeing the same pattern over and over, ignore basketball and focus on everything else. Compare this to how real basketball analysts get treated. Breaking down why Indiana's defense struggled is fine. Pointing out that Caitlin Clark's defense improved is acceptable, but suggest that maybe media coverage of certain players has been unfair or political, and suddenly you're the problem. This shows what the league really values, and it's not basketball knowledge or honest reporting, it's whether you push the stories they want. Scott Agnes, a reporter who covers Indiana, focuses on rotations, injuries, coaching decisions, and player development. He breaks real news and gives real basketball insights, but he's not in league promotional content. That goes to people making political guesses about players. What's frustrating for basketball fans is that the WNBA has amazing stories to tell. Aaliyah Boston's growth from college star to WNBA Rookie of the Year is fascinating. Kelsey Mitchell's journey from overlooked draft pick to top scorer deserves deep analysis. Caitlin Clark's adjustment from college superstar to pro point guard is compelling. But instead of getting that analysis from league-promoted media, we get political guessing games. This will continue until the league decides basketball matters more than controlling stories. Until they give platforms to real sports journalists instead of political commentators. Until they remember that fans watch to see basketball. So the question is, was making that political hint about Indiana Fever players worth it for Mariah Rose? Did it help her audience grow? Did it add anything meaningful to WNBA coverage? Or did it just confirm what many fans already think, that for league-connected media, basketball comes second to everything else? If you think WNBA media needs to focus more on real basketball and less on political guessing about players, Drop a comment. If you disagree, explain why. And if you've noticed this pattern where basketball analysis gets ignored while political commentary gets promoted, let me know, because this isn't just one case. This is the pattern. And until it changes, the league's media will keep pushing away the very fans it needs.